Hey, welcome back for another episode of Plat'n. It has been a while. I do apologise, I've been overseas with work and stuff, but I'm back in Australia, so let's get the videos rolling. Today with Distressedjazz's account. Now, Distressedjazz, or Emerson as he's known in the Discord server, good friend of the channel, absolute top bloke, is quite the completionist. He's got a 90% completion rate and 244 platinum trophies, ranging from indie horror games right the way through to sort of your AAA titles. Let's jump in, shall we? Alrighty, and to get the ball rolling, we have 2064 read-only memories, visual novel followed by the puzzle slider in 36 Fragments of Midnight. A little to the left is followed by A Way Out, which is the escape prison co-op game by the people who did It Takes Two. Abzu, absolute staple of this series. It's a underwater walking sim sort of game, followed by Active Neurons, which I think is the first time we've ever seen this title on Plat'n. I think. I believe it's a sort of like a quiz puzzle game from memory. Edeke Damash is followed by Venture Capitalist, which I love to see. Always love to see my 100% completions on a list, which we're about to see quite a few of based on what I'm sort of seeing below. We then have a double stack of Alien Isolation, one of my favorite horror games of all time. I absolutely adore this game, so it is nice to see two of them here. Doing the no deaths on hard must have been tricky both times, I assume. American Ninja Warrior is followed by Amnesia Collection's 100%, which I'm actually really impressed with. Normally you only see 98%, you see one trophy missing, and this is because several years after the collection came out, a DLC trophy was released that only added a difficulty trophy, so you had to go back and play on a really tough difficulty, which adds literally nothing to the game itself, which kind of sucks, but it is nice to see that you did get that done. Among the Sleep is an indie horror game where you play as a baby, followed by Among Us, which is pretty sus, Emerson. We then have quite a lot of 100% here, with Pac and Pow, Pac-Land, Pac-Man, Pac-Mania, Super Pac-Man, and Tetris the Grandmaster. One of these is not like the others, and one thing you will notice about Emerson's list is he really likes Pac-Man. We're going to see some Pac-Man completions below, trust me. Arcade game series Dig Dug is followed by Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and regular Pac-Man. We then have Ark Survival Evolved, which you did in 3 hours. You use that dev menu. I'm on to you. We then have a bit of Assassin's Creed here with a double stack of Assassin's Creed 2, one of the better Assassin's Creeds, and then only a little bit of Brotherhood 3 and Revelations, which hurts me. That's a series to improve on, Emerson. Sadly, 3 and Revelations are both unobtainable based on what I'm seeing here. We then have the 100% in Astro's Playroom. Always love to see this, especially the speedrun trophies being done. VC Invector is a really interesting rhythm game based on the musician VC. We then have Azkend 2, followed by this is juicy. We then have the full 100% for the Arkham games, or at least the mainline series, because Origins is missing here. But having the 100% for Arkham City and Night is super impressive. Those DLC challenge maps and Predator maps are no easy feat, so that is really cool to see right there. We then have Batman the Telltale series. You've only got the first one done of the two there, followed by Battlefield with the first game's Platinum. I don't blame you based on the weapon trophies, and then the full Platinum for Battlefield 5. Bee Simulator is one of the most janky games I've ever played personally. It was really rough, to be honest. Beyond Two Souls, you played a little bit of the story. Didn't get too terribly far into this one, followed by Binaries. Only a single Bioshock here. I know that's going to hurt Rick in the comments. Bleed, the only a couple trophies off of Bleed. I know this is quite a difficult one right here as well. Bloodborne, full 100% there, followed by the Platinums in Borderlands 1 and 2, but not the pre-sequel, which I can understand that the pre-sequel is pretty mid. Bound is next. Bound is an awesome 100% here. I believe it's sort of a fast-paced kind of speedrunner-esque rhythm sort of game, followed by Bully's 100%. Bully is so fun, one of those super underrated Rockstar games. I do really wish that we would get another one of them at some point. Burly Men at Sea, another staple of the Plat'n series. This came out around that time on PS Plus, and I think everyone has it. Call of Cthulhu, really fun detective game based on Call of Cthulhu, Shadow over Innsmouth, all of those sort of Lovecraftian tales. So it is cool to see this one here. You did it very quickly in 8 hours, but I think there was some sort of cheese to cut down the 2 playthroughs that you needed found after I did it, because I think I did it around 2019. I do plan on doing it again on PC at some point, so there might be a 100% review for that at some point. But we do have Call of Duty Black Ops next, the only Call of Duty here. You've done about half the game. Again, another one, and don't blame you on this one, is very grindy, especially getting all those weapon camos. Just killing dudes on Cairo for hours and hours and hours is not fun. I did most of them myself, but I was never able to fully attain that trophy before switching to PC. We then have Cars 3 Driven to Win, which is actually a legitimately quite good racing game, so that one's cool to see here. Followed by Celeste, which is a very fun platformer. You did it very fast, so I am curious if you did use assist mode or not. Child of Light, it's an Ubisoft game that's sort of poem-based and is legitimately really good. This is another one I would recommend most people play at some point. Claire is next. Claire is a sort of story-driven game, followed by Color Slayer. Conan Exiles 100% is cool to see. It's also cool to see that this is obtainable again. I think it has fluctuated between being attainable and unobtainable quite a bit, so that's a cool one to see there. Followed by Cosmic Star Heroine. Then the Crash Bandicoot trilogy here, the full 100%, which is nice to see, especially for the DLC on 1 and 3. I think the DLC on 1 is the one with Stormy Ascent, which is actually quite difficult. You're then a Mad Lad, and you've gone for Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is a game we've not seen too much of in the Plat'n series. But I do wish you the best in getting the rest of those trophies. Cuphead is next, another relatively difficult game. It just took you shy of 2 years to complete that. We then have the full completion of the Dark Souls trilogy, which is really cool to see. Dark Souls 2 in both variants, followed by Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1. I don't believe you have a PS3. Oh no, you do actually. I can see a game just a bit lower that's PS3. And Dark Souls 2 is PS3, so disregard my ramblings. But I am curious if you do ever plan on going back to the first Dark Souls or even the first Demon Souls at some point to take them off the list. I'm going to scroll down and see Demon Souls, aren't I? I'm going to look like a fool in the next several minutes. But we then have the Darksiders with Darksiders 2. You've only played a little bit of, which I don't blame you. Dark Souls 2, for me, I'm a big fan of that series. I think Darksiders 2 might be the weakest game on the list for me. Only one trophy in Darkwood hurts my soul. Emerson, after this video is uploaded, I demand that you go back and you 100% Darkwood, because it is one of the best indie horror games I've ever played. It is so good. Day of the Tentacle is next. Lucasfilm's Point and Click. Followed by the Dead Island games here with the 100% for 2, Definitive Edition, and Riptide, which is really cool to see. These are quite fun open world zombie games. Developed by the devs that would go on to do things like Dying Light, which I think is quite an upgrade over the first 2 Dead Island games, that's for sure. Double Stacking Deadpool, always love to see a bit of Deadpool here, always nice to see it's still around, given that I believe it has been delisted. Death Squared is followed by Destroy All Humans Clone Carnage, which was the really weird, shitty, like, spin-off multiplayer game that I think you could just boost with another person really quickly. I am interested to see that that's the one that you've done of them. I'm curious if you do plan on going back and doing either of the 2 remasters at some point. Diablo 3, dabbled in a little bit, followed by Disc Jam, which I thought was a PS3 game, but never mind. Doki Doki Literature Plus, really good anime horror game. I actually played this not too long ago, and it is really good. I can see why people recommended it to me for years. Absolutely recommend this one. Don't Starve Together, really fun game. I've never played Together, which is the multiplayer variant. Do you see ultra rare platinum there with a 2.5%, however? But very difficult to stay alive in Don't Starve. Everything wants you dead, which is very difficult. I remember the first time I learned that the trees weren't a big fan of me, and I didn't last much longer beyond that point, let's just say that. The Doom here with Doom 2016's 100% and Doom 64. No Eternal, no Dark Ages, or Doom 3 even, or the original games. I'm curious if that's a series you do enjoy or not. Doom 2016 has one of the worst DLC trophies I could think of, where you have to prestige the multiplayer like 8 times. I think it took me and some buddies like 2 or 3 days of grinding like 6 hours a day, just running backwards and forwards, commanding capture points over and over again. Downwell is next, another juicy ultra rare, followed by some Dragon Ball Z. Drawn to Death, another sadly unobtainable one here. I think all of the trophies, yeah, all of them were server based. Servers have sadly closed. Aaliyah is followed by Emily Wants to Play, which, another indie horror game, another weird indie horror game. I really like the first Emily Wants to Play. A very good friend of mine probably had the best jump scare reaction I've ever seen in my life to Emily Wants to Play 1. Emily Wants to Play 2, however, is kind of not good. I did not necessarily like this one, and I sort of accidentally got most of the way through the game. So I'm curious, Emerson, what your thoughts are on these two games, because they are so unique, I would say. But yeah, really enjoy these ones. Really enjoy Enter the Gungeon, so it's nice to see that that ultra rare has been completed, followed by Everything, which by the look of this list, you complete everything, so it checks out. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockdown, 14th of May. I think you used the infallible cheese, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it was around this time that cheese was discovered when they released the private servers. Fallout Shelter is next, really fun mobile game. I actually only ever played this on mobile, so I'm curious to know if it is worth playing on PC as well. We then have Fantavision, which is a very low completion rate at 0.34, followed by some Far Cry here. I know you're not the biggest Ubisoft guy, but it is cool to see some Far Cry. Blood Dragon, one of the best DLCs or expansions I can think of. I love Blood Dragon. Classic Edition, it's just Far Cry 3 without the multiplayer, essentially. And then Primal, which was unique. It did something different. You play as a caveman as opposed to a caveman in modern days, and it was okay. I think the big problem with it is it just lacked a story that was really interesting at all, and I think that really hurt it at the end of the day. We then have First Class Trouble, which is essentially a clone of Among Us, followed by Fishing Planet, you mad lad. One of the rarest completions ever at a 0.01%, and it's just excessively grindy. We then have some Five Nights at Freddy's here, which are really cool completions with the first and the fourth entry, both completed here, followed by Former 8, some Freddy Fazbear, and then Friday the 13th, which I have my gripes with Friday the 13th. That game closing as I was getting close to the Platinum Trophy will never not hurt me, and I think probably ultimately played quite a part in me sort of falling off of trophies and then eventually moving into achievement hunting more so. But Frozen Freefall Snowbite Fight is a sort of a gems sort of game, followed by Game of Thrones. In fact, you know, there's the gems game right there, Gems of War, which does have unobtainable trophies at the moment, which is painful. In fact, you are only missing those unobtainable trophies. We also have the ultra rare for Gauntlet just above it, followed by a double stack of Goat Simulator, which Flappy Goat is something painful. It is interesting to see, actually, looking at this, that only the PS4 version ever got DLC. The PS3 version only ever stayed as a base list, but the fact that you did Flappy Goat twice really says something about your mental well-being. We then have God of War here with the third game, twice with its remaster, and then Ascension, which I think was one of the PSP ones. I think, that got ported across. Golf with your friends, really fun golf game with really shady DLC practices. They released a stack of DLCs, waited a couple of years, and then bumped the price of those DLCs, which is kind of like, maybe don't do that, please. Gran Turismo 5, another sadly unobtainable one here, followed by the GTA games with 3, 5, San Andreas, and Vice City. I am curious, Emerson, if you are ever brave enough to go back and do GTA 4 at some point, because that is still obtainable, as well as doing these Doomsday heists right here, because I know those 7 trophies are the Doomsday heist. We then have Hatsumiku Project Diva Future Tone. I have no clue what that is. Followed by Hawken, which was an interesting game. It's supposed to be a very grindy game, but people worked out that if you just loaded in and did the dailies for about a month, I think it was, you would earn enough currency to then just breeze through the trophies in like 2 hours. I think my completion rate of this is less than an hour. I think I was in like the top 10 when I did it back in the day, not deliberately, but that's how fast that you can get it down to, is around an hour mark for that completion. HIQ Ace, this is a bunch of sort of free, easy peasy like puzzle sliders that are quite good fun to do. Followed by the Hitman series here. Oh, we got quite a lot of Hitmans with Hitmen. We're doing the plural for Agent 47. We've got the Hitmens. Hitman 2, Hitman Go, which is a sort of side game that's kind of another like tile slider puzzle sort of game. Hitman Absolution, this is one I'm actually tempted to do on PC pretty soon. I actually downloaded it this morning. Different, it's more story driven than the rest, which are kind of like open sandbox levels, but I really enjoy it. Blood Money's the best in the series, if you ask me, outside of the World of Assassination trilogy, which are fantastic. And then we wrap up the Hitmans with Contracts. We then have both Hotline Miami games here, which is always really, really nice to see. Followed by Hugh, Hungry Shark World, which you did recently, and I think did a lot of damage to your mental well-being. I remember the Discord being spammed with shark stuff for a while there. I want to be a human, so do I. So do I. We then have all of the Infamous here. Beautiful series completion right here with the first game, the second game, Festival of Blood, the spin-off that I talk about quite a bit. Really enjoyed Vampires. First Light, probably the weakest in the series for me. I never was really big on this game being a sort of arena shooter. And then Second Son, which it was okay. I think Second Son's biggest problem is the characters are just really bland, because the powers themselves and being set in Seattle is actually pretty cool. I did enjoy that. I think it was set in Seattle. Yeah, it is. We then have Infamous 2 and Infamous, which is really, really cool to see here. Very impressive completions here, especially the Catwoman trophy in Injustice, in Gods Among Us here. Very, very impressive one right there. Intruders Hide and Seek is an indie horror game that is very mid. It's okay. Essentially, you play as some kids and some dudes break into your house and then trying to find and kill your family. And so you sort of got to move around and do various different objectives while not being caught. It was okay. I remember it being pretty janky, but it was alright. We then have Invector Rhythm Galaxy, followed by It Takes Two, same devs as A Way Out earlier. We then have a lot of Jak and Daxter here, with the third game twice, the Precursor Legacy 5 times. I didn't even know there was that many stacks of the Precursor Legacy. And then Jak 2. What's interesting is you've done it once legit and then a second time using the debug menu. I can appreciate the variety there. And then you did round it out with Jak X, which is a very mid combat racer. You then got an iPod Touch game here with Jetpack Joyride. That's a blast to the past. And Just Cause 3, Juicy Ultra Rare. I like Just Cause, but I find the controls not great from memory. I remember the driving mechanics, and I mean, you're not driving that often in the game, but I do remember the driving mechanics being fairly rough in this one. And then we round out the J's with Just Shapes and Beats. Oh, we're getting into another series completion here that's massive. But we'll start the K's with Kiwi, which is a fun co-op sort of puzzle game, followed by Kinetica. And then we're getting into an absolutely massive amount of Kingdom Hearts here, with the first game twice, 0.2 Birth by Sleep, 358-2 Days, Birth by Sleep 2 more times, Kingdom Hearts 2 twice, Kingdom Hearts 3, the Platinum without the DLC, Melody of Memories, Rechain of Memories, twice. Neither of these have been completed either, but these are quite harder on the grand scheme of Kingdom Hearts, I believe. And then we round it out with Kingdom Hearts Recoded, which, you know, I love to see some serious completion, so these are awesome to see here. Really cool. I do like that you have quite a lot of serious completions, Emerson. It is quite cool to see. Knights of Valor is next, followed by Kung Fu Panda Showdown of Legendary Legends, which is actually quite grindy. It's got a reasonably annoying multiplayer, I think, from memory, which is why it is a less than 1% completion rate. Alrighty, and moving into the L's, we have Lego The Incredibles. It's the only Lego game on the list, which is interesting. Certainly not the Lego game I would pick if I was only going to do one of them, but it's still a good one nonetheless. We then have Life is Strange and Before the Storm, which is obviously the prequel. I would say if you liked these, do True Colors. Don't do Life is Strange 2. That one is definitely a mistake. Limbo's 100%. Always love to see this. This is a trickier sort of one due to the 5 deaths or less trophy. Little Big Planet 3. Oh. And the first game too. Obviously the servers have shut for these, making some of the trophies now unobtainable, tragically. We then have Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, which is a juicy ultra rare, followed by Lumo, which is another really, really good ultra rare there at a 0.87%. Madison is a fun horror game. Essentially, you've got a camera that you can sort of take photos of to sort of solve puzzles and stuff. In fact, quite a lot of the trophies are tied to the amount of photos you take in a playthrough. It's good. I really liked Madison. I think the church puzzle in the middle of the game is terrible. However, you can essentially skip it by just doing a glitch where you grab the piece of paper you need through the confession booth, which is really handy for the speedrun trophies as well. Mahjong is next, really fun tile game. Mark of the Ninja Remastered is followed by Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which is another really, really impressive 100% here. I do notice, Emerson, I assume you're a fan of superhero stuff because you do have quite a lot of the really hard completion rates tied to them, which is nice. Max Payne, the first of the Max Payne trilogy, really, really fun game. The bullet hell stuff is still awesome to this day, followed by Medieval Remake. Only a 1% trophy back to back, which is pretty rare. We've been seeing the 100% completions pretty consistently right the way through. But Metal Gear Solid 5 and Mighty Number 9, both good but flawed games. I would say Metal Gear Solid 5 is a good but very flawed game. Mighty Number 9, mid. It's okay. It's an okay game. You do have the 100% for Minecraft, however, which is pretty impressive here with both stacks, followed by Minecraft Dungeons, which is also really cool to see. Mirror's Edge only being 2 trophies off completion is super impressive, because those DLC time trials are insanely difficult. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is unobtainable due to server closures. Considerably easier than the first Mirror's Edge, I would say. I also have this Platinum trophy, and if I can do it, anyone can. But really fun games nonetheless. I always really appreciated the color palette and world design in these games. It's very satisfying to pull off some of those time trial runs and stuff. Monster Energy Supercross, this was a PS Plus game around that time. It's an MX game, sponsored by Monster Energy. Mortal Kombat 11 is followed by Moving Out, is followed by My Friend Pedro, which is the banana game. We then have only the first 3 My Name is Naos. I know a recent one came out as well. I am curious, Emerson, are you planning on getting that one done as well? We then have N++, Double Stacked, which is a juicy ultra rare platinum. Namco Museum Archives, Volume 1, Volume 2, and the Essentials pack have all been completed, which is cool to see. Then a cheeky little bit of Need for Speed here with Rivals and Shift. Shift being unobtainable due to server closures, of course. Neverwinter being 50% done is super impressive because it is a very grindy game. I would love to know how many hours you've sunk into Neverwinter. All Stars Brawl, 7 hours. I think you can use a couch co-op to cheese this significantly. Knights of Azure is followed by Nitro Blasters. Nova 111 is followed by Octodad, which is another really fun game. Just followed by Mega Strikers, which I think was free to play if I'm not mistaken, and only has a couple of trophies. Yeah, 4 trophies, which is one of the lower trophy lists, like in terms of trophy count, that I can think of off the top of my head. We then have One Piece, followed by Onrush, Orc Slayer, and then we have both completions for Outlast, which is really cool. Obviously, Outlast Trials is still to be done here, but very impressive completions here, especially Outlast 2. Outlast 1, you can kind of cheese on the hardest difficulty. You can kind of crouch walk and just constantly spam crouch as you move, and it doesn't make you 100% invincible, but it does dramatically decrease the amount of time, like chance that enemies have to hit you. They can't really hit you while you're crouched. They can't really hit you in that animation between standing and crouch, so if you do it a lot, you decrease the amount of chance that they have to take a swipe. Overcooked is followed by, and this is where we get into probably the cornerstone of your account, the Pac-Man collections here, with 265, Ghostly Adventures 1 and 2, Championship Edition 2, which is a really impressive platinum right there, Edition DX, followed by Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs. I've never heard of that one in my life, but you're only a couple trophies away from that, and you were working on it just a couple of days ago. Pac-Man Museum, 0.38%, that's insane. Museum Plus, another ultra rare, followed by Repack twice. And that is most of, I believe, the Pac-Man completions right there, which is super impressive, Emerson. You've done a fantastic job on those ones. We then have Pinball Heroes, followed by Plate Up, followed by a little bit of Primal, some Prince of Persia, which I always love to see Prince of Persia. It's a very, in my opinion, underrated series. Prototype 2, easier than the first game, but still a lot of fun. This is back from the PS3 era of games being very edgy. This game is very edgy from memory. Psycho Pass Mandatory Happiness is a VR game, visual novel game, VN. Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords is followed by Qubit, is followed by Ratchet & Clank, A Crack in Time, and Full Frontal Assault. Both Red Dead games here with the 100% for the first game, which I do like to see there. That is very impressive. I think that is, yeah, so that's the remaster there, which I don't think has any multiplayer tied to it. And then Red Dead Redemption 2, you've dabbled a little bit in, but it is of course very beefy. Remothered Tormented Fathers is an interesting indie horror game where essentially you sneak around a mansion trying to escape an old dude who has his dong out. It's an interesting game right there. And it's got a sequel, or I think it's a prequel, that is also pretty good. Those are two that I do want to get back to and do again at some point in the near future. Resident Evil, we've got Resident Evil 4, 5, 7, and Revelations 2. Only Resident Evil 5 complete, which is probably the weakest title of the 4 of them, so that's interesting. I'm curious, Emerson, being a lover of horror, is Resident Evil a series that you do plan to go back to at some point? We then have Resogun twice, always really impressive to see there. It's another one where the PS4 game has DLC and the PS3 game does not. Riptide GP is followed by Road Bustle, is followed by Roblox, which there's some fun indie horror stuff on Roblox actually. Rocket League's 100% is followed by Roundabout, which is unobtainable and has never been obtained by a single person, so I assume that probably launched unobtainable. Sackboy: A Big Adventure is followed by Assault and Sanctuary, no Salt and Sacrifice at this stage, followed by Saw, which is a game I'm desperately trying to get my hands on. I really want to play this and do the trophies for it at some point. Sayonara Wild Hearts is followed by Sega Mega Drive. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice Souls fan. Oh, I just remembered we didn't do any Demon Souls, so I win. I didn't look like a fool. But Sekiro Shadows died twice. Really fun one right here. This is another one where I really need to sit down and actually spend some time with it. Followed by Shadow of the Colossus, followed by a stack of 100% completions here, which I love to see, with Skyforce Anniversary, a double stack of Slender the Arrival, which is not as bad as everyone says it is. It's an okay game. I think its problem is that it kind of derails itself a bit, which kind of sucks, but otherwise it is a very fun title. Slide is followed by Soma, which is a game developed by the devs who did Amnesia, and has probably one of the most impactful stories I've played in a game. I really, really love Soma. You can also turn on a setting to make yourself invincible so you never die to enemies, which is okay. It's fun. It serves its purpose. We then have a massive stack of Sonic games here too, actually, with Sonic CD, Sonic Forces, Frontiers, Generations, and a double stack of Origins, The Fighters, Unleashed, and World Adventure. Some of these also being very, very low platinum trophies, such as Sonic Forces up here, with a 3.39% completion rate, which is kind of cool to see. We then have South Park The Stick of Truth, which you've dabbled a little bit in, dabbled back out, followed by SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, Sports Friends, Spy Chameleons, and the trilogy of Spyro, which is another trilogy I really need to actually sit down and play at some point. I've still never played these games. Star Wars Battlefront 2, very fun. I like it. I actually liked the campaign in this one, but getting to level 50 is miserable. Doing that triple XP every Wednesday for like 2 months is not fun. Star Wars The Clone Wars, this came out on the original Xbox. It's a fun game. It sort of focuses on vehicle combat, but I always enjoyed it. Stardew Valley's 100%. You love to see it. Followed by Star Wars as well. Do you see back-to-back ultra rares there? Obviously Stardew Valley takes quite a lot more time with Vector's Challenge and just collecting everything, but both are super, super impressive. Street Fighter is followed by Stretch Subnautica. You're about 50% done on Super Meat Boy, which will be an impressive 100% if you ever do go back to it. Subliminal is a very fun sort of puzzle game where perspective plays quite a key part in things. Tales from the Borderlands, I didn't get into this one personally. Tearaway Unfolded, however, is quite cool. Very fun sort of like paper collage sort of art style. It's really, really unique, and I did really like that one. We then have Tekken 6, 7, 8 Tag Team Tournament, the Prologue, HD, and Tetraminos. I don't know why I can't say that word, but the Tekken series, always love to see them. Nice to see that you've gone through and completed most of them off the top of my head. Another really cool completion here is both of the Amazing Spider-Man 2s. The bridge, I hated the bridge. I also have this 100% somewhere. I can't think of who the particular artist is that the art style's based on, but it's the whole perspective and momentum changing the different paths and stuff. Think like the never-ending staircase and stuff, where it's different directions of staircase branching off of one another. The Exit 8, this right here, this 0 seconds is so impressive to me. So there are there's only 2 achievements on PC. I'm not entirely sure what the 4 trophies are, what the extra 2 are, but on PC the 2 achievements are to find every single anomaly in the game and notice it, and to just beat the game, which is to correctly guess 8 of them. So you're in a permanently looping hallway, and if you see something that isn't supposed to be there, that's an anomaly, you're supposed to turn around and go the other way. Emerson has been so terrible at the game that he has beaten the game on the final anomaly, which has popped all of the achievements all at once. I don't think that was intentional. If it was, I'm still impressed, but that is amazing to me. That is really, really cool. I love that right there. But the Exit 8's fantastic. I recommend literally every single person play it. It's an anomaly game, so you're going through an area trying to work out what's different each time. Some of them are really subtle. Some of them are very much not. but all of them are really, really good. We then have the Forest here, which is another ultra rare, another game I love. You're on an island, you can build, but you can also go through the main story and try and find your son. The King of Fighters is followed by The Last Door, is followed by the Lord of the Rings War in the North. This is another game I would love to do at some point. I have such a fondness for the PS3 era. I've been on Steam getting back and doing quite a lot of them recently, like Homefront, Aliens, Colonial Marines, Duke Nukem. I'm just listing really terrible ones right now. Mafia. And it is such a fun era of gaming for me. I love all eras. I really don't believe the whole, oh, games are getting worse as the years go on. I think that is just, you know, personal opinion. I think every single era of gaming has its strengths and its weaknesses and just so many beautiful titles. But The Lord of the Rings The War in the North is an example of one that probably wouldn't be made today. It's such an interesting idea and take. It's also really glitchy and a pain in the ass to 100%, but really, really good one there. That's another one I would love to do at some point. The Mark of Kree is followed by The Order 1886. Another game I would love a sequel to. I really enjoyed The Order 1886. It's limited in terms of gameplay, but the story and the world is really, really cool. The Outlast Trials, you've done both stacks here. I really enjoy this game. I've actually not earned a single trophy in it, and I've played like 6 hours, which is kind of impressive, but it's really, really fun. It's such an interesting take on the Outlast universe, and this is kind of making me want to load that up and play it after this video. We then have The Park, which is another indie horror game that is very mid. It's essentially just a walking sim where you walk through a theme park and literally nothing happens the entire time. The Sims 4, day in 50 minutes, you probably use the family gallery, I think. The Swindle is followed by The Witcher 3, which is another game you only did a single trophy in. That hurts to see. That's probably the most brutal 1% on the list. The next one makes a lot of sense. But we have The Witness, 100%. Always love to see that one right there. That final puzzle is definitely a platinum killer for a lot of people. Wolf Among Us, Telltale's best visual novel game. Thief at 1 trophy. That's probably all it deserves, to be honest. Followed by Thomas Was Alone. Thumper, beautiful ultra rare. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which is the Borderlands 2 DLC, but as a spin-off. Titan Souls, really impressive, 100% here. Essentially like a boss rush kind of thing. Titanfall 2, another one. I actually just recently redid this on PC. Become the Master is still difficult. It took me about 2 hours to get this done again. Still a very difficult trophy in a game that has probably one of the best campaigns in a shooter that I can think of. It's really, really good, really unique. Talk L is followed by Total Reliable Delivery Service. We then have Trackmania and Trials Fusion, which are awesome to see. I love to see Trials Fusion right there. Trials of the Blood Dragon and Trials Rising are also very, very impressive to round out the Trials series. Tricky Towers, another really cool one to see here, followed by Twisted Metal Black, Typewriter, and Uncanny Valley, which is an interesting like side-scrolling horror game where it's set over a number of days, and what you do on each day does affect subsequent outcomes through the rest of the days, which is kind of cool. Uncharted 3 on PS3. Ooh, that one hurts to see. Double stack of Uno, followed by Until Dawn and Untitled Goose Game. A little bit of Vampire the Masquerade. I believe this is one of the visual novel ones. I do hope that we do get Vampire the Masquerade at some point this year. I think it is sledged to be released. Vampire at only 5 trophies hurts me. That's a fantastic game. That's one I absolutely recommend you go back to because it gets really, really good. And I do like the way that the trophies actually make it kind of harder in that the way that you earn XP, you actively cannot do if you want one of the trophies, which is a really interesting way of making your list harder. War of the Monsters is followed by We Are Doomed. We Are Here Expeditions, The Friendship, ship being a capital S for some reason. Welcome Park, What Remains of Edith Finch, Whispering Willows. That was a weird Vita sort of like side scroller. I think I did it around the same time because it was leaving PS Plus. I think that's probably why you did it as well. Oh, I'm seeing Wreckfest, you know I love my Wreckfest. We then have Word Search, Worms Battlegrounds, Juicy Ultra Rare if you do ever go back and clean that one up. WRC 5, Wreckfest, one of my favorite racing games ever. I love this game. I'm so excited for Wreckfest 2 this year. Xenon Racer, Xeno Drifter, Yakuza Kiwami, and that's the last one showing on OBS. You can't see the rest of the games. Sadly, there's 3 more at the bottom of the list. For whatever reason, my OBS isn't letting me go down far enough. But we have yet another Zombie Defense, Zombie Driver, and I assume the Korean version of Tekken, I think? Or Super Street Fighter. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it's down there too. But that has been Emerson's list. If you made it this far, let me know what I should have for dinner tonight, because I need suggestions. I'm very lost. Thank you if you did make it this far as well. If you want your own list added to the Plat'n series, let me know and I'll put it on the list of accounts to do. Like I said, I've been away for the past month for work. It's been very full on, but I'm glad to be back. So videos should start to trickle back out again, and I will see you on the next video. I miss you already. Goodbye.